Hello, everyone. This is Tech Talk with MazTech Gaming, and Rothenium, RunesZar, and myself, Evil Laugh Gaming.
What's going on, guys?
Nice.
Welcome. This is our first ever podcast. I've got my co-host, Radio RunesZar, on the mic with me. What's up, Rune?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I have today Evil Laugh Gaming joining us, and the one and only Rothenium. It has been too damn long, Roth. How have you been, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I've been good, man. We haven't talked for a while, but yeah, I haven't streamed so much. I guess that's why we haven't seen each other too much, and you haven't streamed as often as you used to.
No,
either.
definitely
So
not.
that's put a gap between things.
Absolutely.
In life, I guess. But
the cool
see you
thing
guys
is,
again.
but the cool thing is, we did stay in touch to a certain extent. So we've kind of talked back and forth. It's more like, every couple of weeks, like, hey, what's up? Hey, good to see you, man. Good to talk to you too. Okay, 2 weeks later, hey, good to see you. So at least what we're doing here is, you're one of my oldest friends on YouTube. I think we started talking like in December of 2017. And then, of course, Evil Laugh. We've been friends for about a year as well, huh, man?
It's been something like that, yeah.
And so when I first started streaming, when I first started with YouTube, it was all just pre-recorded videos, tutorials, how-to, and leave it to Rothenium. He was like, dude, that's boring, and your editing sucks. And, I appreciate that, because even to this day, the level of editing that I've been able to do is due to what Roth had taught me over the last year. Fortunately, I was a quick learner, but he's like, you need to branch out a little bit. And he's like, try live streaming. I used to watch, we go back to, I think it was February, Roth, when they changed everything with YouTube. It used to be 10,000 views and you could monetize. Then they changed it to 4,000 hours, if you remember. I know you remember. 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. And I think at that point, Roth had 600 subscribers, and he just started grinding out on streaming. And the best stream that I'll never forget it, was A Night in the Woods. It was the first stream that you had done. It was I think it was a 2-day series. It was like, that game's like 47,000 hours, and you knocked it out in 2 days. And then you went over and did Monster Hunter World. Well, end of the day, by the end of February, he was at 1,200 subscribers and like 6,000 hours. So that always inspired me. And that got me into wanting to stream as well. And that's where I met Evil Laugh. And that was really awesome, because when I first started streaming, I was streaming Secret of Mana. And I had a total of 1 viewer, and it was awesome. And that one viewer, who was also a mod, was Evil Laugh Gaming. And he was there for every single one of my streams. He's been here for, I would say, 99.5% of my streams ever since. So thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
And what really brought this channel to its success was all of you guys that are listening to the podcast, that show up to the streams. Fallout 4 was definitely the game that put this channel on the map. Now, YouTube has done a lot to pull back on that, but I know, and I can recognize about a dozen people that come in here on a regular basis that were here from the very beginning, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. And also, one of those people that started showing up during Fallout 4 was RunesZar. And Rune put me in a really bad situation in the game. I think I was looking for, correct me if I'm wrong, I was looking for aluminum or plastic. I can't remember which one it was. And what ended up happening was, he put me in a situation where I got like pinned down by, it had to have been 3 dozen synths. And it was insane. But Rune and I started sparking up a conversation after that. And we've never stopped talking. So I want to thank you for that. You've become a great friend, and now you're co-hosting this podcast. So thank you very much.
My pleasure entirely. Can I emphasize, that was not my fault. I can only offer advice.
Yeah, I think it was your fault.
If he fails to stealth his way into a situation, I cannot control the outcome
Right?
of that situation. But yeah, conversation with you. It's always been a pleasure, my mate.
Well,
Always.
yes, likewise. So we've decided to do this podcast. I wasn't sure if I wanted to call it Tech Talk or MazTalk, and fortunately, after I said it out loud, I was like, "Oh shit!" But I asked Rune, and he immediately comes back to Tech Talk. MazTalk almost sounds like a retarded version of MazTech. So he didn't say that; I said that. But one thing that I wanted to do with our guests on a weekly basis, I'd like to have one or two guests that join Rune and I for a nice conversation, and ask everybody to bring a topic. And I know that Rune wanted to talk about steampunk today and how it's getting into the video game. So I'll let you kick that conversation off, man.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I won't try and bore you, but my argument is that steampunk has secreted itself, look at that, beautiful, into, can I have that? Who made that? I want that.
Don't get distracted.
I don't use a controller, but I would definitely have that. Steampunk has ingratiated itself into all aspects of gaming. Literally, it doesn't matter really what it is. It's in Fallout, and it has been from the start, to be quite honest. It's been in the Elder Scrolls since the advent of Morrowind. It's even in games like Dishonored and Final Fantasy. I've never played Final Fantasy, but I've noted that there's a lot of steampunk aspects.
There is a lot.
Tons.
Yeah, a lot.
It's funny that you mentioned Final Fantasy because you think about it. Some of the people that are in their 30s that have been playing it since the beginning. I think ELG, you're one of the people that have always played Final Fantasy since pretty much the beginning, right?
No, I jumped in at 6.
You jumped in at 6. So, well, it's funny that you mentioned 6 because you go 1 through 5, and 1 through 4 was really more of the medieval type game, and then 5 was more like medieval meets pirates type feel to it. But it was 6 that really started exploiting the steampunk aspect of it. And it's funny, I was actually reading about that earlier today, and they were talking about 6 specifically that kind of went all out, just did away with the medieval and the castles and everything like that. But at the same time, it was really cool that that you started at the same time that they really started pushing steampunk. Now, I'll give it back to you, Rune. My question to you is, why do you think that steampunk has really bled into video games today? I mean, this is a late 19th century aesthetic, and it's in today's games. Why do you think that is?
I think because it blends in science on a level which we can accept as a primitive form of technology that we can accept easily because we've all gone through the Industrial Revolution. You take a game like a personal favorite of mine, Guns of Icarus Online.
For sure. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing that. That's all steampunk. I mean, even the outfits are steampunk. Exactly. The aesthetics of the buildings, the ships, all steampunk.
Exactly. Whatever you wear, how the ships are built, the environment itself. Now, that's a post-apocalyptic environment that Guns of Icarus Online is set in. And a lot of people think, oh, well, that's just that. That's just, that's what it is. But it's just one aspect of how steampunk runs and how it does. Now, the thing is, steampunk is also in Fallout. Not a lot of people actually realize that, but it's a hell of a lot of a steampunk aesthetic to the Fallout games. It first appeared in Fallout 2, I believe, when people were living inside a giant airship that it was wrecked, but they were living inside. It was quite comfortable for them to actually set up home there. Now, the thing is, this is where it becomes like a bit of a problem, because people immediately assume that anything that's pre-nuclear age is steampunk, but that's not quite right, because Fallout has blended steampunk with dieselpunk and even decopunk.
And what's the difference?
Well, steampunk is literally set in the 1800s, the latter half of the 1800s, when they're using steam technology to emulate things like computers like Babbage's difference engine, which was a genuine computer. But it was clockwork mechanisms. You know, it was not electronic in any manner, shape or form. Dieselpunk is around about World War One to World War Two. So you're talking 1900s to 1950. And here's the interesting part of it. If you blend Decopunk, which is Art Deco basically, the design of it, the way it, the architecture for instance. If you look at all the buildings in Boston, and especially in Fallout 3, you look around what's left of Washington, you will see a lot of Art Deco buildings there. And I found that when I went to Washington myself, that was sounding like I was bragging, but it wasn't. It's information. And basically what's happening is you look around, you see those beautiful Art Deco buildings that unfortunately was lost in Britain due to the bombing in World War II, but we won't dwell on that. Now, you can go to New York, like the approach over New York, Manhattan Island was astonishing. I mean, my face was plastered to a window like a Garfield plushie. Just literally staring at all of this. You know those Garfields that you stick on the window of a car? You ever seen them? Yeah, I was like one of them, plastered to the aeroplane window, looking down at Manhattan as we approached it, and all these beautiful Art Deco buildings. And the same in Washington. You look around Fallout 3, as I say, and Fallout 4, and you'll see all these Art Deco aspects. So what Fallout did was blend all three in a superb manner. I really think they did a very, very good job at doing that, because their technology wore out in 1950 and they didn't advance any further. That was it. That's why there's 50s fashions going around, trilbies, three-piece suits, that sort of thing. Morrowind, now that was exceptional. That came out about 2002. I didn't play it in 2002. I picked it up in about 2005. And the first thing my eyeballs popped out at was the Dwemer ruins. How they use steampunk technology, blending it with magic to create all the anatomical. Can't even pronounce that.
Really? Did you say it right?
I don't think I did.
I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
I made it up.
You
can edit that out. So they built the drones and the spiders and the Centurions, all with this steampunk aesthetic, which I think looks absolutely brilliant, but blending the fantasy aspects into it. But they were using thermal energy from Red Mountain. In Skyrim, they were actually using steam vents, superheated steam, to produce the same technology. And that is an underlying factor all the way through the Elder Scrolls games, bleeding out into Fallout. And it's coming to other games as well, like Dishonored, especially Dishonored 2. In Dishonored, they use whale oil. In Dishonored 2, the use of whale oil is banned.
Really?
And they're using, they're using clockwork now. So you see all these clockwork automatons walking around, absolutely superb. But steampunk is an essential part, and dieselpunk, of all games, and things like Insomnia the Ark. That's a dieselpunk game set in a post-apocalyptic science fiction environment, and everything, the environment, etc., is all Art Nouveau and Art Deco.
That's really cool.
And it just looks beautiful, and I love it, and that's my two penneth on the subject.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, man.
Did you play BioShock? Because you're mentioning a lot. I mean, I think if you're talking about Art Deco aesthetic in video games, I think BioShock would be, at least it's one of the first things that pops up into my mind.
Absolutely.
Especially the combination of steampunk and Art Deco architecture. It's one of the greatest examples right now, at least in more modern gaming.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, and it's this in-your-face approach to it. It's not subtle. It's there, and it's everywhere.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
That is an excellent point.
If you did play that game, and what do you think of it? Because I don't know. At least for me, it's what pops into my mind immediately when these terms are thrown out in regards to gaming.
I have played it, and I love it. I have played it so many times. It's ridiculous. And yes, that is Deco Punk. That's actually referred to. I thought it was Diesel Punk, but it's not. It's actually Deco Punk. And yeah, you're quite right, and I do apologise for forgetting that, because it is still and always will be one of the best games ever made, and is a classic example of that. All the architecture, everything inside. I mean, okay. The banners say, you know, Happy New Year's 1960, I believe. But again, that's the genre frozen in place. So even though it is the 60s, or that's
yeah, it's the 50s.
Is it the 50s, you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the banner says the 1960, Happy New Year 1960.
Actually, yeah, I think it was 1959. New Year's Eve is when everything went down and everything kind of stopped. So yeah, it was built in the 40s, and really life kind of ceased to exist in BioShock, and at the end of 1959. So yeah, 1960.
Right, I stand corrected. See, I know everything.
You are correct, because the whole point of Rapture was to have that specific time frozen and separate from society, to follow these ideals for that utopia that obviously doesn't work out like all utopias. But you are correct, RunesZar.
Well, you're correct in the fact that I shouldn't have overlooked that game, to be quite honest. That's a cardinal sin, Rothenium.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we would have gotten around to it for sure. I'm just glad that Roth brought it up for sure. You know, another game...
Would have been in the comments, man. It would have been in the comments.
Right, exactly.
Definitely.
Another one that came to mind is, you know, when we're thinking about, you know, this is a Bethesda channel more than anything. I'm not trying to pigeonhole myself, but I kind of have pigeonholed myself in the past year. But one steampunk game that really comes to mind is Rage. It's a very overlooked game. But when we're talking about post-apocalyptic steampunk games, Rage definitely is another one that comes to mind, almost like a Mad Max type thing, but the way that a lot of those guns are designed and a lot of the art there, like the older buildings, has that type of same style to it.
In my defense, I've never played Rage, but I agree with you entirely from what I've seen, especially the airships.
Right. Oh yeah, it's fantastic the way that they did that. And speaking of Bethesda games, we'll be talking about a couple of other aspects today.
One of my favorite games for the 3DS was SteamWorld Dig, if anyone's played that. It's a 2D platformer, but they're all robots, and there's it got 2 additional games to the series. SteamWorld Dig 2, and then SteamWorld Heist.
I'd never heard of those before.
Yeah, they're really interesting. So in those ones, you play as robots, and they're all really broken down, just, you know, trying to survive type deal.
And what did you have to do in it?
In SteamWorld Dig, you're I forget now. I think you're trying to find like some special like ore, and in that one, like you just keep going down and like you build up your own like mine shaft type deal. SteamWorld Heist was really interesting because that one, it was a turn-based like shooter similar to like Worms.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, you got your small like crew of, I think it's 3, and like you go onto other ships and you try and like grab their stuff.
That's cool. That's definitely.
But cool. I really enjoy the aesthetic of like the SteamWorld style.
Yeah, it's something that, well, as I've been playing games since I can remember, it's something that's gradually introduced itself. It wasn't like full on. It wasn't there one day and it was there the next. I mean, they've been subtle over the years adding it. And I'd be interested to hear what people listening to the podcast think about the aesthetic as well. Is it something that you like? Is it something you don't like? Definitely want to have comments and engagement when it comes to stuff like that. Real quick, this is a live podcast, I'd like to kind of open this up for a couple minutes to chat, see if they have anything that they want to add. What do you guys think about Steampunk? And do you guys have any questions for RunesZar or Evil Laugh or Rothenium or myself?
Could I just throw a new spanner into the works,
Sure.
which is very apt for the conversation? There's also another concept which suits Rage down to the ground, which is one of the reasons why I've been meaning to play the game, is junk punk. And just to confuse things, junk punk, I should emphasize. Oh, it gets even
Junk
worse.
punk, Art
Can't make anything
Deco,
easy,
double
can you?
decker, steampunk, punk pile, heisting and digging. I'm getting confused.
Junk punk is recycling the what's left of a post-apocalyptic world to build new stuff like the airships in Rage. So that's another aspect. It gets even more confusing.
The assets in Fallout that you were mentioning would fall into that categorization of junk punk.
Exactly.
Subgenres of I don't know, steampunk, cyberpunk, everything that we could like. I believe I've heard Dishonored be called whale punk, and it's its own subgenre, according to some people. And it is like you could separate these different genres, like you were mentioning, but since it relies on I have not played it, that's why I'm not very comfortable speaking of it. But I've heard people refer to it as whale punk, and it's interesting because be considered to be this cyberpunk implementation whaling culture, right? I believe 1800s or something like that.
Late 1800s, early 1900s, yeah.
So there you have another subgenre.
That's a good point.
There's so many. It's like metal, you know.
I believe that's what you could describe as Dishonored does. They use whale oil to power their machinery, Rothenium.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and again, that's incredibly interesting how they implemented that. I mean, I was so impressed. It was unbelievable.
Mrs. MazTech asked a pretty interesting question in chat, too, asking what other games would we all like to see see steampunk be a part of. Like, for instance, one that comes to mind is Minecraft. It came out, it's a very basic game and whatnot, but they added a steampunk skin to it, and that kind of changes the element of everything, right? But the ones that I've played recently, I'd like to see, I'm wondering, and you kind of get a little bit of that with ESO, but I've been playing ESO a good amount, especially Skyrim. I'm wondering, it probably wouldn't fit the era, but it would be kind of cool to see what some of those things would look like for me with a steampunk rework to it.
Go to Clockwork City in Elder Scrolls Online, and you will see steampunk at its grandest. Literally, it is incredibly well done. They call it a clockwork city. You know, there's a lot of clockwork mechanisms in there, but the steampunk aesthetic is so deeply ingrained in that expansion pack. It's unbelievable. As I say, the Dwemer was steampunks, so it is there, but. I see what you mean about it expanding outwards, Mrs. MazTech. Personally, I'd like to see a lot of steampunk in 90% of the games that we play, to be quite honest. Could I just say, Hellraiser just said a clockwork steam. Well, in actual fact, there's also clockpunk, which is Leonardo da Vinci was a clockpunk. They, when they started inventing the first clockwork mechanisms, or reinventing them. So that covers that period.
Absolutely.
Also Atom.
What about ELG and Roth? What do you think, guys? What game have you guys been playing lately that you would like to see steampunk makeover?
I mean, maybe as DLC or skins, I could see it working for, especially games that are multiplayer. If you're speaking like adding something to it and not story or whatever. You know what I mean? Like not in, for example, in Skyrim, it's part of the story. The Dwemer's ruins, every single Dwemer ruin is filled with steampunk elements, and they got cogs, and they got all these golden finishes, and everything works in that. Well, it's a mixture of steampunk and magic, but
yeah,
the story somehow. But I believe what you're saying with the other one, I haven't played the Minecraft one, but I'm thinking that it's more like skins and stuff. Am I correct?
It's just skins. It's not as in depth as you would notice, like with a game that actually blatantly has steampunk in it, but just they were able to add that skin to make it kind of fit. What would it look like in a steampunk environment?
You guys, so yeah, I believe it could work in any game, especially multiplayer style games. Even in Smash Bros, they have some steampunk attire for the Miis. I don't really mess with the Miis, but you can actually put. I think there's like one steampunk skin for them. So you could probably build upon that. I think people enjoy doing those. You can personalize the character. Yeah, maybe they could add some more to Smash. That would be cool. One thing that I'd like for Smash is that they actually added skins and assets to the main characters, not only to the Mii character. Because I don't care about the Mii characters. I know a lot of people like them. I don't care for them. If they added some elements to the core character, that would be awesome. It's justifiable through story or some element, or there's some steampunk in the history of the game. Adding steampunk to that character would be awesome as well.
I knew you were going to bring up Smash, and you didn't get back to me about a topic earlier, so I knew that would be a good topic. No, you're fine, man. It actually works out perfectly, because I want to talk about your channel for a few minutes here. Anybody that is listening to this podcast hasn't heard of Rothenium, definitely check him out. Really good friend, fantastic creator, great editor, tons of content on his channel. Go check him out for sure.
Thank you, man.
And one of the biggest things that I noticed, so I watched, like I said earlier at the beginning of the podcast, I watched Roth grow from a 600 subscriber channel to a almost 3,000 subscriber channel now, which is fantastic. And a lot of that was on the back of Nintendo games. A lot of people were afraid of Nintendo games because of the Creators Club, how they really put their fingers in everything. They copyright the crap out of everything. But it seems like a few months back, they kind of loosened up the regulations on that, because Nintendo finally gets, you know what? These people are streaming our games and giving us free advertising. Let's let them do it, right? So tell me a little bit about your channel. Tell everybody a little bit about your channel, Roth. And why did you start a channel? What made you decide to go over to Nintendo? And how have you gotten your success so far?
Well, let me. Well, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. And I want to first address what you said about the copyright system, because I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about a lot. And so basically, Nintendo had at first they didn't want people using their games for content. It's theirs. Nobody can use it. Free advertising. I understand that. And after that, they created the creators program at some point. I don't know if I'm going back the full history, but as far as I remember, creators program, which basically you upload a video, they claim it immediately, and then you register it in the creators program, and you know that the video gets. So that's half of half already, because you get half of of the ad revenue, because you're splitting it with YouTube, roughly half. And then you split half with Nintendo. So it was a stretch for Nintendo to do it. A lot of people weren't happy, but at least they were letting you use the videos. Smash Bros is that there's so many copyright holders in Smash Bros. Like every single song had a different copyright claim. So you'd upload one of those, and you get 10 claims on them. It was ridiculous. And then you register, and the Nintendo's program, it said it wasn't eligible because Nintendo couldn't claim it all. And after they dropped the Nintendo Creators program, they won't claim anything. But after they did that, anything in Smash is free, and it's free. I mean, it's free from being claimed, not free. You know what I mean? Everything's free. Go get a copy. No, but yeah. So all of the music, and there's so the amount of music and stuff in the last Smash is ridiculous. To get it all under the name of Nintendo. So basically, now you can stream or play or do whatever you want on Smash, which is a ton of stuff, and you're good to go. So what they should have done from the beginning. I think they're probably from a business perspective, they're probably getting better numbers right now from all of the people that write. They can now create content for them. I don't know. I just
Nintendo's definitely been behind on how far our social media has changed.
Everything.
Yeah, it still annoys me that they don't have that they still have to use friend codes.
Ridiculous.
In 2019.
It's ridiculous.
Right? It's a good point, but at least they have a server farm now, right? Kinda.
They do not.
They don't. Okay. I thought I heard that they had
Everybody
that.
thought they would, but because they were going to charge, and then they didn't. They didn't.
It's $10 a year.
It's pretty cheap, but still, I mean, come on, servers, please. I have dedicated servers for 1v1, but if you're playing more than 1v1, you're playing 5 characters, you actually want to, because it will give a small extra delay. If you like, if you compare peer to peer, you want to, and it's only 1v1, like the Street Fighter, for example, or I don't know, Marvel vs. Capcom or Killer Instinct. It's better to do peer to peer.
Oh, absolutely.
People into the equation, you want to balance it out, so it'll give a little more delay, but it'll make it fair for everybody. And if you play anything more than 1v1 in Smash, it's a mess right now.
So Roth, why did you decide to start a YouTube channel? You started a year ago, a little over a year ago, correct?
Yeah, I think more.
Actually, I got it right here on your channel. So I went ahead and
there you go. You can tell me.
It's going to be the link to Rothenium's channel will be in the description. I definitely would love if you guys would go ahead and subscribe to him. He joined June 19th, 2017. Currently has 220,273 views, and I can attest, after he privated all of his some of his videos and all of his live streams, he had damn close to 1 million views
I
at that
privated all
point.
of the Smash live stream also. I did that after we spoke, but I don't know. I don't want to have like 7-hour videos in the middle. I felt like it was just disorganizing everything and not allowing people to see the rest of the content. We had this conversation at some point that YouTube should actually separate videos from live streams, but they don't do it for some reason.
Right. Yeah. No, I completely.
That's
I
my
definitely
main
remember
reason.
that for sure. And it's one of those
So
things.
it's just clutter and.
Yeah, it's one of those things that they discourage. They've really started discouraging. I felt it in my channel. They really want you to go back to pre-recorded videos and whatnot, but they don't do anything to separate the streams from the videos. I think that would be a lot easier. I have since started unlisting some of my streams, my most recent streams, and I'm going to be going through and unlisting all of them to go straight pre-record moving forward. But I completely remember that for sure, and I think what you did gives it a cleaner look to your channel, because a lot of people like to watch shorter videos, 10 minutes and less. Yeah, I can tell you right now that I'm not going to have people, nobody's going to have people sitting there watching a 7-hour stream after, if you can't interact with the streamer, for sure.
Exactly. Like a podcast, for example, is different because you're speaking of certain subjects and you're not interacting. Like the point is not the live interaction. The point is the conversation that was being had. So it's a different type of live show.
Yeah, it's a different type of interaction.
With the streams, people want to hang out and they want to talk to you. So after you're done with that, for example, you work on a video and you're working on this video for a week and you're editing it and you're recording it, then you upload it and then you stream 3 times and that's it. It's somewhere there, but nobody's gonna see it. I just think it's kind of messed up how they organized it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It would be so simple. Just make an extra tab that says streams and the one that says uploads, and that's it. You're done. You fixed it.
Yeah, they don't even have to do anything else to that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of that you can alleviate with just your own customization of your homepage.
And with playlists.
Well, all right, I'm talking about like just like when you first go to your homepage. Like I have mine like uploads is like the very first thing you see, and then below that I have my active playlists or my active Let's Plays, so you can see the 4 I'm currently working on, and then below that I have like them stretched out, and then near the bottom I have previous streams, popular uploads, and then collaborations.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually how I've had it set up for a while.
Because I mean,
And
how
especially, yeah, sorry.
I was saying, like, how often do people go into like your videos tab to scroll through your stuff?
That's the thing with me. That's what I do when I go into a channel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even look at the homepage. Just going off of my own bias or my own what I do specifically.
Sure.
But yeah, I always tend to just go videos, and my experience with the channel, I go into the channel, sometimes I go to the about section if I know nothing about them, and then I'll go to videos.
Mm.
And the first thing I see is when was the last time they uploaded and what kind of stuff they uploaded. So if you see that there's like 10 streams, you assume that it's a channel that live streams.
Mm-hmm.
And it maybe it's a channel that uploads much more, but they haven't uploaded in a while. I don't know. I'm just, I'm going out on a limb here, but
No, you're good.
No, it makes sense.
I mean, that's just how I organize my stuff,
And I think that's a good step and a good practice, and I think everybody should do it, because I don't know what amount of people are going to go to the homepage and what amount of people are going to go to the video page, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, like the way I've done it is like if I hit, especially when I'm not on my PC and I'm searching through my phone, if I like the video, you can hit, scroll up or down, however, whatever it's oriented, and you can see their logo. And when you hit that, it takes you to their homepage. So then you can see, it doesn't take you to their videos page because that's just a mess,
Right.
Casserole when you go to their
nonsense.
Homepage, right. When you go to their homepage, it shows, what they think is important to them or what they want you to see.
Right. At the same time, though, there are, and I dare say that there's probably a couple people that are watching this live that didn't know that I had pre-recorded videos before I started streaming.
Exactly. And you had them on your page. You had a playlist, remember?
Yep.
That's the thing. If you can live with having, like you just said it, like, okay, everybody goes to the homepage and the video page is a mess. It's not a big problem for some people to have that page as a mess, but I wasn't too comfortable with it, so I went ahead and did that.
Mm-hmm.
I think any way you do it, I mean, if it's working for you, that's the way to go. Like, there's no rule or anything.
Right, exactly.
And I think that having an organized homepage is definitely the way to go, because, as you said, people are going to land here if you link to it. I'm completely with you, and I understand your point.
Absolutely.
Let me get back to your question, because I never answered.
Yes, I was actually about to ask that. I was going to just be like, hey, so I've got a question for you, Roth. Why did you start a YouTube channel?
I'm going to start talking about something else. Well, the YouTube is a very interesting site. No, I'm just kidding. Started my YouTube channel. Anybody this, but my YouTube channel, it didn't start off. If you see my channel, I opened it in June, but I started uploading in September. The channel, it wasn't a gaming channel. It was like what is
fitness
it? Like,
channel.
Yeah, fitness or like I don't know, weightlifting related stuff. It was weird, man. And I started doing it. Dude, the views are crazy. Like, if you wanna, if you're doing it for the views, dude, get into that. It's crazy. I was getting probably better views than I get now on videos. I'd just be like, oh, calculate your macros, and then it had like 4,000 views. Like, how?
Yeah.
I don't even know how that was happening.
Absolutely.
Get into that, people. Get into that for the views.
So
And then I got bored. Like, I'd record videos, and then I was able to record like 5 videos a day, and I was like, what am I doing, man? What is this? I'm not even enjoying this.
Well,
And
that's the golden rule right
I deleted
there.
everything. I deleted everything with them just to have them, but I deleted everything. And I started uploading gaming videos. I uploaded a few gaming videos. I uploaded them in Spanish.
Nice.
I'm gonna make it in English, and then I deleted everything again. And dude, I had like what? I had like a couple hundred subscribers. Dude, they were so confused. People started unsubscribing. Some people didn't even speak the language. They were like, "What the hell is this thing?"
I don't speak Spanish. I'm leaving, or I don't speak English.
I wanted to calculate my macros, and now you're playing Super Mario World in English. What is this garbage? So people started leaving, and then I don't know. It was weird, man. I don't know what YouTube or the algorithm thinks of this channel, but they probably think it's weird.
That was a hard 90-degree angle, man. That was a hard turn.
Hard turns.
Yeah,
a bunch
sure.
of hard turns, man. Like, people didn't know what was that. I also had a Facebook page, and I got a bunch of people in there, and then was like, okay, guys, remember this page? Now it's a gaming page in another language.
That's awesome.
That's basically a guide of how not to do things, people. So do not follow this as an example. Do the exact opposite. Just do one thing.
Very, very cool.
The long format Let's Plays. They were fun. I enjoyed making them, but then I'd find that I don't know, I watched them myself, so I started editing them down, making shorter ones. That was around when I was playing Super Mario Odyssey. Played now, and I started making them shorter and shorter and shorter to the point where I try to keep everything under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Under 10 minutes for Let's Plays. 10, 15. I don't know, no more than 20. I mean, I uploaded it. I remember this one because it was so ridiculously long. It was what's that game? Evil Within 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. Like, wow.
Yeah. That was a pretty shocking ending, and you know, I remember that because your biggest fan is my son, and he was watching that, and I'll never forget, you stopped what you were doing, you got on your phone, and you shot me a text saying, you might want to get Mr. Scared away from the stream.
Outlast 2. Oh my
yes.
God, what is that ending?
Oh yeah, you said Evil. Yeah, you said Evil Within 2. I was automatically went to Outlast.
I didn't even know that I was playing the one that was banned in Australia. And the uncensored version. I had no idea, man. I just downloaded it on Steam. It was on discount. I figured it played on Easter for some reason. I don't know what was happening. And yeah, that ending. I was like, okay, dude, you gotta get him out of here. This is getting a little heavy. Yeah,
and I know that at some point you were afraid of a little bit of blowback by YouTube, but you were protected under everything. You did the right things. You marked it as restricted content, and yeah. So you were good to go there. But I'll tell you, man, you've been a great friend over the past year plus. And, you know, you taught me about pre-recorded videos being as short as possible. And, you know, what did you say? Oh, what was it? There was always something you said about cutting. And it ran right out of my head. Cut aggressively, but it was something else, like kill what you love or something like that. Kill it even if you love it or something like that. I can't remember exactly how you worded it. Yeah. But it's definitely helped me tremendously. So thank you very, very much for everything, man.
I agree, because especially when we make these videos, like there's a lot of parts that you think really into that part, or you think it's funny, but if you look at it objectively, like, I mean, would the video work without it? And like, I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves. Like a lot of the time it would work without that part, you know, and it's adding a bunch of time to your video. You're going to lose people watching it. That's where you kind of contradict it, because, well, it's kind of contradictory because YouTube wants longer format for their ads. So it's weird, man. Like,
exactly. That's crazy.
And they do another.
Yeah. So make up my mind. What am I doing today? What am I doing for you to take my subscribers away today?
And they changed so many things behind the curtains. Like, after they changed the YouTube partner program stuff, they started favoring live streaming to the point where uploading videos for small channels was like views from your friends, and that was it, and nobody else would see it.
Yeah,
streams were being boosted, but like really boosted in comparison. So YouTube was basically telling you low key, well, not that low key, that you don't upload things, just stream, man. Just stream, because it's the only thing that's gonna work. And I'd upload a video and it would get under 50 views, and then I'd stream and it would get 900. I was like, what the hell is this? What's happening? So that's when I started streaming more, and I actually felt kind of bad because I was doing it for that growth. You remember that time, right? I think a lot of people were pushed into streaming because of that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I do love streaming, but I didn't like that the reason for streaming was because I didn't have a choice. I don't think that's the way to get into things. And I realized this lately, but YouTube was like, you know what? Let's just stop boosting streaming. Let's just stop doing that. So they sort of, because I did see this, and I've seen everybody's numbers. I mean, at least the people that I'm subscribed to, and it was like a few months ago. Well, they started boosting it. People were getting crazy numbers, and then they said, okay, we're done. And then live streams were back to normal, or back to, you know.
That's, yeah, exactly. Steroids. So I don't know where they're going with it. They did lose a lot.
It's back to the middle. It's back as it was before they announced the partner program. I don't understand why they did it. Maybe they did it because they wanted people to actually get to the void. I don't know. No, that makes no sense. I don't know.
No, it makes.
Remember, they're getting rid of YouTube gaming.
Yeah, I think that's a bad idea, but I'm biased.
Why?
Maybe that's interesting that you mentioned YouTube gaming, because maybe the point was to give YouTube gaming a boost, see if it worked, and it didn't, and then they're like, okay, scrap that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Well, most of the streamers went to
now.
Twitch anyway as a result. There's been a lot of downtrodden streamers. I noticed that around the time that I stopped streaming, I stopped streaming for personal reasons. First of all, I was really pissed off at YouTube. Went to Twitch for a few months.
That's how it's always been.
Right.
But
I've always been I've been pissed off at YouTube since I started. But
we can agree on that.
Exactly. But then things got, I had some personal issues that I couldn't really stream every day anymore. That's fortunately we're on the other side of that, and that's neither here nor there. But I noticed that a lot of other streamers that were streaming alongside me kind of stopped streaming as well at the same time. And I thought, maybe it was just kind of like a trend or whatnot. But I think a lot of people went over to Twitch and stayed there. And I think a lot of people were just like, screw it. You know what? I'm not showing up on the rankings. I'm not getting new people in. I mean, even now I find that I get a lot of people that, and I love each and every person that comes in and supports the channel and everything like that. But I'm not getting any new subscribers. I'm not getting any new viewers, or hardly ever getting any new viewers. And I'll get 1 or 2 subscribers during a stream, and 20 minutes later I'll lose 4. So I think it's gotten to the point where a lot of people are like, I quit. I'm done. It definitely deterred me for a while, but one thing that I didn't like about Twitch, actually despised it, and I tried embracing it, is the amount of people that lurked over there. I didn't like that. And I think a lot of people are like, well, that's just the way those people are. Well, not necessarily. It might have something to do with your platform, because I can't tell you how many times I had people from my YouTube channel come over to my Twitch channel and say, hey, the interface for chatting is so much better on YouTube. I think a lot of people just couldn't be bothered by it, to be honest with you.
I've been streaming on Twitch because just for the organization of my channel. If I'm gonna hide them anyway, I figure I'll do it over there. But I do agree, man. I mean, the encoding that Twitch does is inferior than YouTube's. There's no doubt. YouTube has the ultra low latency setting, which is seconds. That's almost immediate for live streaming. I mean, it doesn't get any better than 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, we have a 2-second delay here.
Chat doesn't disappear when you reload the page.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
So annoying.
What the hell, man? Who thought of that? Who thought of that? I want to slap that person.
Exactly.
And then, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. I don't even really know what I'm gonna. I've even considered creating a streaming channel and just use one channel for streaming. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but for now I've been doing that.
Well, I hope you come back soon, man. If for Mr. Scared and Mr. Scared alone.
Not on Twitch.
No, come back to streaming more often. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, last time I streamed last week, but I did it on Twitch, and a lot of people don't realize it. I don't like to, I won't use my community tab to announce the Twitch stream. I think I know that YouTube won't like that.
They do not.
Yeah, they don't even push it.
You want to keep links within YouTube, so that's another reason to just create another YouTube channel just for streaming, and just community tab and link your streams to your main channel. That can work as well if anybody's in the same dilemma as I am. Probably not.
Completely agree.
That you do like a second channel for streams, and you community tab the notifications. It won't pop up like a notification per se, but at least people will get to see them. I mean, it is a boost.
Oh, for sure.
From what you were saying about people, like they get that boost. Like psychologically, what YouTube did messed a lot of people up, because a lot of people started streaming for the wrong reasons. I started streaming with garbage views, but I figured I'd get some watch time and I'd have a good time. Night in the Woods, I was just doing it to have fun, and people started joining. I enjoyed it, and then YouTube started boosting them like crazy. Like, I didn't even know what was happening. Like I'd stop my video. I had get over 1,000 views in a video. I didn't know what was going on, man. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And then you get people used to that. You get small channels used to that, and then you just take it away. I mean, if people got into streaming because you pushed them into it this way, like you want to grow, you got to stream, and then you just take it away, and now what do you have? You've been streaming for a few months. Maybe you didn't enjoy it that much. You were just doing it to grow, and now you're not even going to grow. So where are you standing? I just think it's very messed up for a lot of people that got into it for the growth, didn't enjoy it that much, weren't too crazy about it, but they didn't have a choice because they wanted to grow on YouTube, and they really wanted to make YouTube a big thing. And then now it's just not working anymore. I don't. I think it's really messed up.
Well, see, I can give you the perspective of somebody who started out streaming because he loved it so much, and then pulling the rug out from under me because I wasn't, and you know, I wasn't doing a ton of pre-records after I started streaming because I really enjoy one of like, I think actually it's still on my channel trailer. It says, "Come join our active, engaged community." I want to have an engaged community, and I have a phenomenal community of people on my Discord, on my YouTube channel. We get a lot of comments during our live streams and everything like that, but I wasn't a huge pre-recorder. So for them to pull the rug out from under me, it's kind of going in reverse. It's like if I want to grow on YouTube, now I got to do pre-records, and I don't necessarily have time for pre-records. I've got 3 kids. I've got my wife. I've got a full-time job. You know, I don't have time to sit there and do, and I don't edit at the speed of Rothenium, okay? a 10-minute video going to take me 6 hours to edit. So it's kind of gone in reverse for me. I'm not saying that you're wrong, because, I mean, you didn't really enjoy the streaming, or you were streaming for the wrong reasons, and you, at one point, were doing a video a day, every day at noon. I remember that, every day at noon, and that was your passion. That's what you loved. And you didn't necessarily want to do the streaming, but you did it because it got you that boost. It got you to the 1,000 subscribers. It got you to the 4,000 hours. And the best part about that, because everybody was doing it at the exact same time, you didn't lose your partnership and then have to reapply for it because you did so well with it.
Yeah, that was a lot of people have to wait on the queue. You remember that? I mean, they were really making you wait for that. But I mean, I've always enjoyed streaming. I don't want to like. I didn't explain myself correctly. I've always enjoyed it, and I started streaming before they started going crazy with the streams, like technical mess. But I've always enjoyed it because I like hanging out live with the people on my channel. But my point is that I saw a lot of people that got into it because of the growth, for the growth only, other channels, and then when they took that away, they don't know where they're standing right now. That was my point.
Gotcha. Oh, I apologize then. I misunderstood you.
No, that's dude. I'm just. I didn't even correctly probably. Don't worry about it.
It's all good. So, guys, I wanted to talk real quick about what's going on with Bethesda. We know, Rune, you know that we were talking about it earlier today. They're coming out with the Wild Appalachia. Well, they just came out with it, I believe. They just released it yesterday. The Wild Appalachia DLC. Supposed to be about 80 gigabytes on console.
What?
Yeah, it's adding different things like survival, almost like I think that they're kind of veering towards adding a battle royale to 76. But I don't know if you've had the chance yet, Rune, to try it out.
I haven't tried it out, but I've been looking into it quite a lot. And it's a mixed bag. Forgive me for contradicting, but it's actually 60 gigabytes.
60 gigabytes, okay.
60
That's
gigabytes.
still a lot.
Yeah, it's a huge update.
It's a hell of a lot. But there will be another 20 gigabytes along very soon. So it will amount to 80.
So it will be eventually an 80 gigabyte overall upgrade. And you know, it's one thing that I'm going to be getting back on to in my channel is playing some 76. I really, I played it during the beta. I played it maybe once when it released. I wasn't a fan of the storage system, and anybody that's watched any of my streams, I'm a pack rat. I can't put shit down. I can't put shit where it belongs. I always got to hold on to it. I play ESO with people on the channel, and I got to stop and say, hey, you know what? Get me a merchant so I can sell my shit. Even though you did that 3 minutes ago, I'm full again. So that really kind of hampered me. I know that they upgraded that, but then you had some of the lag. I couldn't justify streaming it anymore just because, for the simple reason that I was getting timed out. So how is that for you? If you have anybody has played it since, have you noticed that the timeouts have reduced?
What does that mean?
What about you're playing the game, right? And all of a sudden it kicks you out and you're back on the title screen.
Wow.
No matter
really? And you have to...
no matter what you're doing, you could be in the middle of a boss fight and boom, you're back out on the title screen. You've been timed out for inactivity, or there was a lag in the system and we kicked you out, or for any reason, it kicked you out. And that happened a couple of times. I was like, I can't stream this anymore because it's just so broken. And people were saying it was going to be broken ahead of time. But has there been, and I haven't really given it a chance. Truth be told, I haven't really given it much of a chance since November. I got really busy in November, and I'm not making up excuses. I just haven't touched it since then. So for those of you who have played it, comments or in chat, or Rune, ELG, Roth, if you've played it, has there been any improvement?
I have not, unfortunately.
You should give it a try, Rothenium, to be quite honest. It is... it's worth it just for the world, to be quite honest, because that's what Bethesda do. They do worlds so well. It's amazing, picturesque.
I agree.
But the thing is, I didn't get so much time out or drop. What the hell was that?
That was my chair.
Ah, right. As long as there's a logical explanation. Yeah, I haven't noticed them as much. It was literally the lag spikes that were crippling me. They were really, the character was getting shot at, and I'm getting 3-6 FPS in some places, and that was getting tedious. But yet the lag spikes seem to be totally different from the actual drops that people are getting. Like, you are being kicked from this server. Oh joy. And try and get on another one, and everything's gone that you've just been fighting, and because you're literally on a different server, and it is
that's frustrating.
A problem. It's very frustrating for people, and I think that's one of the major issues that they're trying to address at the moment. They've increased the size of your stash, so you can get more, but it wasn't much. I do know that it was about 20 items. And of course the new DLC, which is free, and you're getting it on the PS4 whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
which is a bit weird.
That's a 60 gigabyte one.
Yeah.
That's
crazy,
that
man. Like,
that's 20, I believe.
Gigs.
One of them was 20.
People have to upgrade their storage right now.
Well, this is it. I mean, one of them was 60 and one of them was 20.
It's still insane.
Games have been ridiculously heavy in updates for a while now. I mean, I remember I don't remember what, I think Call of Duty Ghosts had one of those ridiculous 50 gig updates, or the game to download was, I don't remember, like, ridiculous amount. That's the first one I remember, and it's been happening for a while. The hard drive that's included with the PS4, at least the Pro, it's 1 terabyte. It's not enough, man. That'll give you what, like 5 games with their updates right now? It's crazy.
The problem is being that if you own a PS4 and you have Fallout 4 and Skyrim and Fallout 76, you're getting a lot of updates over the next month, because they're going to be updating Fallout 4 and Skyrim because of Creation Club content. Now, with a PC, you can refuse the update, but the problem is with a PS4, even though it's a smaller upgrade, you get no choice, and that is fundamentally unfair.
That's true.
You literally just have to sit back and say, okay. You can't say, look, naff off, I don't want you, go away.
There's some people that want to play the game and whatnot, and I'm blessed with a really, really fast internet, and that has its limitations on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's just because I've got 200 gigabytes of download speed doesn't mean I'm going to get that when I'm hardwired in. There are people that want to play the game, and they're forced to wait. And even like on release day, I was supposed to collab the game with Dimmy, and it didn't automatically update during the day. So after work, I get home, I get set up to stream. I'm with Dimmy. We're talking, and the thing starts downloading. It's 56 gigabytes. It's the one that Fasulo was gonna join us for that too, and he was stuck with the download. Wheezy was stuck with the download that day as well. It was just a complete mess. I mean,
it's like a Windows update.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it just was. It's a hindrance, to be honest with you. But here's my complaint. We all say, Bethesda, oh, Bugthesda, ha ha ha. It's just Bethesda being Bethesda. But the thing that bothers me is that we've just let that go on so long that even Todd Howard at the last E3 kind of made a joke about it. It's like it's all fine and good to be tongue in cheek about it, but let's actually do something about it. So I got a comment in chat saying, somebody had commented that there were still instances where you get timed out of the game. So I think instead of working on Wild Appalachia and trying to compete with the likes of what's that game, Fortnite, with the battle royale crap, let's work on fixing these bugs, and then once we have a polished product, then let's go ahead and add to the game. Because if you have a piece of shit, pardon my language, and you build on top of that piece of shit, you have a bigger piece of shit. And
you have a pretty large piece of
right,
shit.
you've got a monumental piece of shit.
That's something.
Okay, now I'm not really calling the game a piece of shit. I'm calling it a broken game.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a broken piece of shit. It's not even a full piece of shit. But so
I agree. I mean, Bethesda glitches are fun, like when it's somebody's head spinning or like a horse flying. But if they break the game, that's when it's unacceptable. I agree with you completely.
That's when I object, and that's the problem I had at the 6 FPS, 3 to 6 FPS.
Wow,
yeah,
that's worse than Blighttown. That's beautiful, man.
That is unplayable.
Exactly. This is why I stopped actually playing Fallout 76. Not because of the environment, as I say. I literally challenge people to show me an environment that's as beautifully made as the average level design in either Fallout 4, well, any Fallout game, or Elder Scrolls, especially Skyrim.
Nobody does it like them. I think that most of their problems come because you could even say that they're too ambitious. That's why their games are so great, and they feel like to a point. Like you never know what's gonna happen, and they have a lot of personality. I mean, all of the memes aside, that's why they're masterpieces. But with that much ambition, also comes all of this potential to have more bugs or to have more errors, glitches.
Right, and Bethesda's my favorite developer, man. I mean, you know that. They've got phenomenal games like you had mentioned. All I'm just saying is fix the problem before you. I'm all about it. I want everybody to enjoy these games. I want it's a fantastic experience playing these games, and I want Bethesda to be successful, and they're very successful. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and just say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you not fixing this before moving on? You be like, oh yeah, well, that's funny. You get timed out a lot, and that sucks. And sometimes you get 3 to 6 frames per second, and some things glitch, and sometimes it's unplayable. But we got this new DLC coming out, and it's going to be phenomenal. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's a non sequitur. It just doesn't fit what they're trying to do. They're not fixing anything as they improve. Now they are making, minor repairs and whatnot, but I don't think the gamers, I don't think they want Band-Aids. I think they want it to be mended. And I'm not trying to be hard on them. I'm just saying this is, and I'm not even talking as a podcast host. I'm talking as a consumer. And that's really what it's all about. I spend my hard-earned money on these games. I want my game for it. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't work and that it's completely broken and everything like that. Some parts do work, and they have made some improvements. I just think before you go on to these really big, ambitious projects to expand the universe, let's get these small but huge technical issues corrected first.
It's literally a case of we bring out a patch for you. No, that's not good enough. I don't want first aid. I want major surgery.
Exactly. Fix it.
If my leg is hanging off, I don't expect my doctor to say, oh, well, I'll put a plaster on it and off you go. I wanted to get me to the hospital and stitch my leg back on.
Or it'd be like, hey, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put some popsicle sticks and tape your leg up. But I got this really cool new hat for you. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
You know, it's
have
like
an apple.
it's
That'll
not
make
fixing
it
the
all
problem.
better. I'm sorry, but the apples don't rub with me. You know.
Right. It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. But
I mean, Fallout 4 suffered from bugs. It was down to the modders to fix it, and a team. Oh God, I've forgotten the name of them, unfortunately. If you're listening to this at some juncture, I do apologise for forgetting your names, but they made the Fallout 4 fixer patch basically, and without that, there'd still be a lot of problems with Fallout 4. I'm just trying to find their names, but
it was fully playable.
oh yeah, it was fully playable. The unofficial patch team, that's what they are, and they are the unofficial patch team project. Which, fair enough. Now, those guys did one for Skyrim as well, and that fixed a lot of niggling issues and a lot of problems that made it completely playable. These are people who do it in their spare time. Yeah, these are people who have full-time jobs, like you guys. Yeah, you have families, full-time jobs, and you do this in your spare time. Grand. They are doing Bethesda's work in their spare time, and that's not right.
right.
Bethesda, if any of you are listening to this podcast, please, I love your games dearly, but fix the infernal, tedious, overtaxing, mind-bendingly boring, goddamn infernal FPS problem for me. I'll put up with everything else. Head spinning, people exploding into the air, my head dropping off as I'm running along the road. I don't care.
Oh, that stuff is the funny stuff that's not going to break the game. But like what you're talking about, 3 to 6 FPS, you can't even play that. Like I could sit there and tolerate that. I mean, that's like watching paint dry. You know?
Exactly.
I don't want to watch paint dry. It's it's not in my list of fun things to do. Playing a game from Bethesda, that's on my list of fun things to do. But I mean, it's just something that needs to be fixed. So that begs the question, what are they doing to fix Fallout 76? And what do you think that Bethesda is going to learn moving forward with future projects? Because we know that there are at least 2 projects in the works for Bethesda right now. That's not Elder Scrolls 6. What are they taking with them to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Other than we should probably never make an online MMORPG again.
That's exactly what I want. What I'd like them to say. Just stop.
I think they should.
They're making some of the best games in history, and then they're just making these online things that I mean, I know some people enjoy them, but come on, man, what is that? I wouldn't hate them, but they're taking time from them from other projects, so I don't know, man.
Oh, absolutely. So
I'm not for those. No,
I'm with you. But in Bethesda's defense, there were people that were pining for that. A lot of people were pissed off at Fallout 4 because they were hoping there was going to be some sort of multiplayer aspect, and it continued on. Fallout 4 was not popular at all when it first came out with a lot of people, much like Fallout 7. Fallout 76 is on a much bigger scale, but people were saying, well, why not have a multiplayer aspect? Why not have a multiplayer aspect? And Bethesda does tend to listen to what their fans are asking for. And of course, the same people are like, oh, get a multiplayer game. Well, here's 76. Oh, that's going to suck. Oh, it's going to be terrible.
Remember, it was getting hate since before. I mean, I didn't care for it, but I didn't hate it, man. Or, you know what the problem is? That this whole patching things, you know, just release it and then we'll patch it. Patch culture is what's the problem. Not only with Bethesda, like even with games, people want patches. Even if the game is perfect, they'll be like, oh no, you should patch this character because I can't beat him. Oh, you should make this thing stronger. Like the mere option to patch things. The relationship between the developers and the consumers is kind of messed up right now, because first off, you have the developers releasing things prematurely. I mean, some of the biggest games right now are alphas. That's ridiculous. How do you release alphas, dude?
Right.
And then you have, on the other hand, you have finished games that people pre-ordered or like they're paying full price, and then you're fixing them as you go, using these consumers that paid as your beta testers. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I think that's the problem, and it's the whole. I mean, it's industry wide. The thing with Bethesda games, I believe, is that the games are so big and so ambitious that they're prone to more of this.
Right. Right. So I think moving forward, I think it'll be a long damn time until they do another attempt at multiplayer. The next.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I just want Elder Scrolls 6 so bad.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because some things that we're talking about, there are a couple projects in front of Elder Scrolls 6, and I was talking with RunesZar about this a little bit earlier. First of all, they've got, 4 teams now with Bethesda? And I think Bethesda Dallas is really not doing too much right this second. So they might be getting to work on Elder Scrolls 6, but they've also done some updates to Fallout 4. They've also done some updates to Skyrim. They're adding some weapons and some features to that, which is great. But they're working on Starfield. That's their next big thing that they're talking about. It's their first IP as a company. Now, if those of you that don't know a lot about Bethesda, Elder Scrolls is not an original Bethesda game. Fallout series is not an original Bethesda game. Those are games that were purchased by Bethesda and made better. And I'm glad that they did, because those are two of, Elder Scrolls and Fallout, two of the greatest franchises I've ever played in my life. I mean, at the end of the day, when you get through the bugs and all that crap, it's a phenomenal experience. It's not even just playing, it's an experience for sure, because everything you do in that game dictates the way you play that game. Now, I've played Skyrim for thousands of hours, and I have never played that game the same twice. It's phenomenal. Starfield is going to be their newest intellectual property, but they're also working on a side project that has not been disclosed. And I was watching some YouTube videos today, and kind of from what people are deducing, they might have that remake Fallout 3 on the horizon. Can't really confirm that, because nobody's going to say boo about that. But there are 2 projects before Elder Scrolls 6. And Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to come out. There people are debating whether it's going to come out in 2020 or 2021. What do you guys think?
I think it's going to come out in 2020, and that it should have come out in 2021.
I like it.
Yeah, 2021.
Okay. A lot of people are thinking that that's going to come out in 2020, because the reason why they're holding off and taking so long with the Elder Scrolls is because Elder Scrolls will not be released on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One X. They are talking about making it next generation. And now
next generation.
Next generation. So we're talking about PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet, which is their code word. So one thing I noticed is Sony has pulled out of E3 this year, which I thought was kind of weird. But then when I started investigating a little bit more about that, maybe they want to have their own press conference this year, kind of take it away from E3 to unveil.
Nintendo's been doing it for a while, and they tend to like to mimic some stuff. I'm just trying to be subtle about it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you also have to think, how much time does it take to produce one of those, and money?
Oh yeah.
It's much better to just host your own thing and just upload it online like Nintendo's been doing. It's cheaper, it's more effective, you have your targeted audience. I mean, there's no around it. I think conferences with physical appearances are a limited use right now, unless there's gonna be I don't know, celebrity appearances or FAQs with interesting people. Those type of things in those conferences are cool. I mean, you can just upload a video with that.
Oh, absolutely. I think with Sony's appearance at E3, some people loved it last year. I thought it was lackluster. I think that they were scratching and scraping. It makes me wonder if Bethesda is going to pull out from E3 as well to unveil their Starfield. There's a lot going on with that, but I can guarantee you that Elder Scrolls definitely won't be out in 2019, but it sounds like they're trying to push it for 2020. I think you hit the nail on the head, Roth, when you said it should be out in 2021, but it's probably going to be out in 2020.
Probably going to happen.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it'll be probably late 2020, to be honest with you. But they're not pushing it because they don't want to do current gen. And as far as I know, it's not planned to be on the Switch, but everything that we're talking about right now is hearsay, preliminary, and unconfirmed.
Well, we were supposed to get Blades last year, and we didn't.
Still in the works, believe it or not.
The thing is, I think it's actually done, per se, but they want to avoid the Fallout 76 dilemma.
Right. And it's funny, somebody in the chat just said Bethesda should be quiet for the next year and just let the backlash die. And I couldn't have said that better myself. I mean, there's a lot of blowback, a lot of negative press from 76.
There is a problem with doing that. If they do that, it's sort of admitting they were wrong, and they can't do that because they're a multinational company. If they're saying, "Oh well, we were wrong. This, product is garbage,"
I would be more likely to buy a product from you again if you just manned up and said, "Hey, you know what? My bad."
I mean, that's what Nintendo did with the Wii U.
Yep. Yeah, that was ridiculous. But they did it. They took ownership of that. And, people buy products from companies they trust. And it's kind of hard nowadays to trust Bethesda, to make sure that they don't come out with something like that again. Going back to Roth's point, Fallout 76 should have been out in 2020, 2021.
That or slap a giant early access.
Yeah,
sticker on it.
They should have done they shouldn't have done 2 weeks of beta. It should have been a couple of months of beta. Looking back on it, everybody's like, I don't care, get it out so we can play it. But in retrospect, to come out around now, which is 4 months later, that might not have hurt anybody's feelings if you had 4 months of beta. I mean, they already got their money for the pre-record, the pre-order, right? What does it matter?
No, man. I mean, they're working towards unrealistic deadlines, and that's what happens when you do that.
It's very true.
Comfortably, because you can always patch it. Who cares? You'll fix it later.
And that's
the problem.
Yeah, that's the type of I don't want to say behavior or pattern that we've come to expect from Bethesda, and that's the type of pattern that Bethesda understands that we let them get away with time after time. And I think this time it's starting to bite them back for it. 3 months of beta, 6 months to fix. Somebody said in chat.
Like 6 years to fix.
Yeah, even still, it's nine months. I mean, that's not bad. That's putting you right around the end of summer 2019 that game could have come out realistically, no problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let me throw this out there for you.
Yeah.
Fortnite still says that it's in beta.
Exactly, man. At least it's not an alpha anymore, right?
Right.
Exactly. But they're taking their
that's
time
also a
with
free game.
Yeah, they're taking their time with it. I mean,
that's fair enough. I mean, but people have paid out £75.
It's a free game that you can purchase things for.
Right, exactly.
Subscription.
Not necessarily pay to win either.
For the battle pass, I mean, it's free to an extent, but most of their core audience is not playing it for free.
Right, exactly. It's over a year old and still in early access. We're getting a comment, but that's. But they can take that out of beta now, because no matter what, that game's just gonna suck. It's just my personal opinion. Well, we gotta wrap this up here in a couple of minutes. So I wanted to talk real quick to Mr. Evil Laugh Gaming. Like I had mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, Evil Laugh was literally my first live viewer ever. He spent the first couple of weeks. I'd get anywhere from 1 to 5 people in my streams and everything like that. But I could always count on Evil Laugh Gaming being there, helping me get started. He was my first moderator. Roth was in every once in a while as well, but he was doing his pre-records and his streaming as well. But Evil Laugh was always there, keeping me company while I was playing Secret of Mana Remake, and I stopped streaming that because it kept crashing on me. It's like the theme of today's podcast ended up being bugs and crashes, but at the same time, I wanted to have Evil Laugh talk a little bit about his channel, and definitely anybody who has not subscribed to Evil Laugh Gaming, his channel link will be in the description as well. I'll go ahead and post it in the live chat here. But Evil, what made you decide to come to YouTube and start a channel? I know that at one point, I believe you actually started as a Twitcher, correct?
Yes, I started on Twitch. So that was 2016-ish.
Been doing it for
It was back when Microsoft integrated, or not integrated, but like put the Twitch app onto the Xbox so you could stream directly from your Xbox.
Right.
So, because I had no idea how to do anything at that point, and it was just like, make a Twitch account, sign it up, you're linked, hit live, you're good.
That's awesome.
So that's what really started me, and then I was like, well, I like, the name I came up with, so I just started grabbing, like, I think I made my YouTube at that point in time, but I didn't really upload anything until like a little bit later. Just so that way I had, my branding.
It's a good idea for sure. I mean, it's why do you have that name, by the way?
You know exactly why.
Anybody that hasn't checked out ELG, definitely check him out. He is a phenomenal person, phenomenal YouTuber. Does a lot of Terraria videos, which I get sucked into. Even when I was really busy, I'd watch some of them to keep me company, whether I was driving to work or whatnot. He definitely has the best laugh ever. One of the most powerful voices. You got to give us your your Mustafa impression.
Oh gosh,
come on, man.
All right. Simba, remember who you are. You are my son and the true king of Pride Rock.
So amazing. I love it. Absolutely amazing. So, Evil, why did you start out on whether it be Twitch or YouTube? What compelled you to start doing a channel?
Okay. So we'll start off with I've worked in the food industry for forever, and most of that was as a server. So I've learned to talk essentially like this because it helped me, me with my tips, just being able to speak this way. So everybody would say, dude, your voice is amazing. You should start, you should be on radio. You should do voiceovers. You should do this or that. So
completely agree.
So, actually, Evil Laugh Gaming is my second Twitch channel. I started another one before that, just with my old gamer tag, River Shadow. But yeah, don't even bother looking up that. Yeah, that's my old World of Warcraft undead rogue. But yeah, so there was a game called Fable Legends. If anyone remembers that was supposed to exist.
Yeah, I remember that on the 360.
Studios. Yeah, no, it was for the Xbox One.
Was it?
Fable is for the 360, but Fable Legends was supposed to be their 4v1, 4 heroes versus a villain. And I was like, I'm gonna make a Twitch channel. I'm gonna be the villain, Evil Laugh Gaming.
Nice.
So that's the origins of Evil Laugh Gaming.
Nice.
You heard it first here, folks.
Well, we got a really excellent creator out of it. And anybody, like I said, I posted his link in the description in chat. Please subscribe to Evil Laugh. Does a lot of different videos. Pops on periodically. For me, like 1 a.m. for with some live streams periodically. So definitely check him out. I've definitely got to wrap this podcast up. We're at the 90-minute mark here. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Roth, Evil Laugh, RunesZar. Rune will be my co-host moving forward. We got to get some sound bites from Evil Laugh Gaming to introduce RunesZar, though. Or he's not doing it. So we're already having contract issues with RunesZar before we even get started.
Lawyers are watching right now.
That's right. His lawyers are watching. The pen just clicked, so they're coming up with ideas. But I wanted to thank the 3 of you for joining me. I wanted to thank the live chat. I think this went very, very well. It was an experimental thing. Usually podcasts are recorded offline and then edited and released. This will release every Friday at 9 a.m. I think it's something we can continue with the live chat because there was some pretty good interaction. I was able to, when I wasn't talking, because I cannot talk and type together, when I wasn't talking, I was able to talk to chat as well. So thank you very much for the live chat. Thank you to Rothenium. Dude, great to be back in touch with you. ELG, same with you. Rune, we kind of never got out of touch, but it's great to be back on the air with you as well. If you guys wanted to say good night, please do so now.
Thank you so much for having us, Maz. I appreciate it, man.
My pleasure.
Everybody have a good night, and thanks for watching.
ELG?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and we'll see you next time.
All right. And, of course, Radio RunesZar.
Thank you for having me on, MazTech. Do appreciate it. Roth, ELG, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It really has. And thank you for putting up with me, chat.
You guys are
Hope you have a
awesome.
very good night.
Thank you guys very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you did, please make sure you smash that like button. And if you are lurking or watching this podcast, please make sure you subscribe to the channel for more podcasts like this on the way. Thank you for joining. And as always, thank you for being a gamer. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a great night.